Should you punch someone or use your open hand if you're fighting in the street? I've got a funny story to start this out with. When I was a teenager, I went and took this self-defense course. It was like once a week that I was doing on top of the kung fu training I was doing. Once a week with a kickboxer. The guy's name was Ralph. Hi Ralph, if you're watching. So Ralph was teaching us empty-handed strikes. We're doing here kind of a jab with the empty hand, cross with the empty hand, hooks with the empty hand. He was saying you gotta hit with the empty hand. Otherwise, you could break your knuckles. You're hitting with this part of the hand here. One day, Ralph came to class with his hand in a cast. Turns out he'd been in a fight. He'd been at the bar, gotten into a fight, and smoked the guy and hurt his knuckles. Knocked the guy out, but reverted to punching. So, yes, if you punch somebody in the head, you can break your knuckles, for sure. But you know what? I'm still an advocate of punching people if it's really a serious situation. If your life is on the line, if your safety is on the line, go ahead and punch people. Medical science is amazing. They can probably repair your hand, but they can't bring you back to life. What are the advantages of punching? Number one, it's instinctive. What happened to Ralph? As soon as he got into a fight, he closed his fist and punched the guy. This was instinctive. It's instinctive for people who've never trained before to make punches. They might be punching badly, but they're going to be making a fist and they're going to be punching. This is an instinctive way to hit. The human animal is wired for this. Secondly, the fist has got a lot more stopping power than the empty hand. Yes, I know. Pancrase used to use empty hands. Yes, I know. Bas-Rutten developed a way where hitting with the bones here was a pretty good approximation of hitting someone. Yes, I know slaps can hurt. And yes, I agree that slaps are useful, especially for finding a range or setting up, say, a takedown or setting up other strikes. There were lots of MMA fighters back in the day who would kind of paw with the empty hand, and then when they saw a target, they would launch the knockout punch there. Empty hands have their place, but if you really want stopping power, you're going to go with a closed fist. If you take a look at this fist here, you can see where those knuckles have been broken a couple of times. Guess what? I still have hand function. So this also brings up the question of, should you do knuckle conditioning? Should you be punching a makiwara? Should you be punching a heavy bag with your empty hands? The answer is yes, a little bit. You should be doing that to get used to punching things without the padding, without the support on the wrists, without the pillows from the gloves or the hand wraps. Now, if you're doing a ton of kickboxing, yes, definitely go with hand wraps, definitely go with gloves, because you don't want to put all that wear and tear on your hands. But you want to do a little bit of conditioning. As much as anything, is to teach you that when you hit empty-handed, that you need to really clench your fist. If you watch what the Kyokushin guys do, the way they're taught to close their fist is to squeeze these knuckles as hard as they can, then squeeze these knuckles as hard as they can, then close the thumb as hard as they can, and make this a solid block. I have done a video on different ways to make a fist that won't break or is less likely to break. I'll link to that above and below if that helps. But there are ways to make the fist less likely to break. Another thing is, where are you punching? If you're just blindly closing your eyes and punching like this, or throwing some kind of giant haymaker, yeah, you're probably gonna break your hand because in part you're hitting up here. This is a pretty hard part of the body. In fact, if you're punching me and I can't block, it's not a great solution, but it's a hell of a lot better than nothing to just drop my head and let you hit my forehead, which is relatively hard, as opposed to letting you hit my face. I was punching myself in the head there. I wasn't, you might notice, punching myself in the nose or in the ear or in the jaw, all of which are softer. So if you're gonna be punching, be more precise as to where you're hitting. Really try and hit the jaw. The jaw moves, right? You're not punching some brick, otherwise known as the head. You're punching the movable part of the head. Land it right on the nose. There's some padding there. Yeah, you might hurt your knuckles. You're gonna hurt your opponent a lot more. Land it, on the side of the neck, here, where you got the knockout point. Another video that I've done on that, on the knockout points of the human body. Again, I'll link to that above and below. If push comes to shove, I'm a big advocate of this. If you can get away with an empty-handed strike, sure. A lot less evidence for it being the definitive fight-ending blow that people claim it is. As I've talked about again before, slapping the ear Good luck with that. It's not a highly reliable technique. When push comes to shove, you want something that's instinctive and powerful, and that is your fist, and that is your other fist. It's not any other crazy hand position. You want to punch the guy at a knockout point and take him out.